Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to share with you could decide how much money actually lands in your pocket this year. We are talking about rebate checks worth $600 up to $20,400, and I promise you, by the end of this video, I'll reveal the most important detail about who qualifies and how this money could reach you. So don't even think about skipping, because if you do, you might miss out on the one piece of information that could change your finances in 2025. Here's what's going on. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri has introduced something called the American Worker Rebate Act. Now, what makes this bill different is that it's not about printing new money or adding more debt like past stimulus checks. Instead, it's funded directly from tariff money. That's the billions of dollars the U.S. government collects from taxes on imported goods. So basically, the money is already sitting in government accounts, and the idea is, instead of Washington spending all of it on debt or big projects, send a part of it directly to you, the American people. Now, here's where things get really interesting, because we're not just talking about pocket change here. We're talking about real money that could actually make a difference in people's lives. Under this plan, every single adult would qualify for $600, and every child would also count for $600. So let's break that down. If you're living alone, that's $600 straight into your account. If you're married, that doubles to $200. And if you're a family of 4 with 2 parents and 2 kids, you'd be looking at $2,400. Add another child to that household, and suddenly the total jumps to $3,000. You can see how quickly it adds up, especially for larger families, and unlike some past programs, kids count for the same amount as adults, which is a big deal. But of course, there's a catch, because there always is. Before you get too excited, you need to know that these rebate amounts would start to phase out once you reach a certain income level. Just like we saw with the pandemic stimulus checks, if you make above $75,000 a year as a single filer, or above $150,000 as a household, your rebate would shrink and could even disappear completely. That means the plan is targeted more toward low and middle income families, the people who are feeling the pressure the most from higher grocery prices, gas, rent, and utility bills. Lawmakers want the money to go where it will have the biggest impact, not into the hands of millionaires who won't notice an extra $600. Here's the important part, though. Even with those limits, millions of families in America fall under those income lines. That means the majority of working households would still qualify for the full rebate if this bill becomes law. And think about what that would look like in real life. Imagine you're standing in the grocery store and the prices on your cart keep climbing while the cart itself keeps shrinking. Or you're trying to cover rent and the power bill in the same week, and there's just not enough left over. Then suddenly, boom, a $2,400 rebate check shows up in your account. That's a month of rent for some families. That's groceries for weeks, or that's a little cushion for an emergency you weren't prepared for. And the best part? You wouldn't have to go through some complicated application process or wait months on end. Just like with stimulus checks, the government could use the IRS system to send payments directly, either by direct deposit or by mailing out paper checks. So yes, there are income rules, and yes, it's not guaranteed yet. But if you're an average working American family, this proposal could mean real cash in your pocket. And the timeline could be faster than you think, because the money is already sitting in government accounts, waiting to be redirected back to the people it came from in the first place. Let's break this down simply. Tariffs are like extra taxes on products that come into the U.S. from other countries. That means when companies import stuff like electronics, clothes, or even groceries, they pay more. And guess what? They usually pass those costs onto you at the store, so when you've been noticing higher prices for everyday items, that's part of it. Hawley's plan is to basically give some of that money back to you in the form of a refund check. Think of it this way. You paid more at the store because of tariffs, so now the government wants to refund a chunk of it straight to your pocket. But before you start budgeting that extra cash or imagining how you'll spend it, let's deal with the reality here, because this bill is not law yet. It's only a proposal on paper, and for it to actually happen, it has to survive the long and difficult journey through Congress. First, it has to pass the Senate, and that's no small task. Unlike some votes that only need a simple majority, big bills like this usually require at least 60 votes in the Senate. That means Senator Hawley will have to win support from not just his fellow Republicans, but also a good number of Democrats. And anyone who's watched American politics lately knows that kind of teamwork doesn't come easy. And here's another roadblock. Congress is on break right now, and they won't even be back in session until early September. So until lawmakers return to Washington, nothing is moving forward. That delay alone means families hoping for relief will have to keep waiting just to see if this proposal even gets serious discussion on the floor. Then we have the politics, which is where things get really tricky. Some Democrats are against the idea mainly because it's tied so closely to Trump-era tariff policies. Supporting the plan could look like they're backing one of Trump's economic strategies, and that's a tough sell for many of them. On the other hand, some Republicans don't love the idea either. Not because of Trump, but because they'd rather see all that tariff money go straight to paying down the national debt instead of being sent out as checks. So even though this proposal sounds simple, just give people money, it's wrapped up in a web of political disagreements, personal agendas, and election year strategies. And all of that could slow it down or even block it entirely if lawmakers can't come to an agreement. Still, here's the jaw-dropping part. Customs duty revenue has already brought in $18 billion this year alone, almost double compared to last year. And experts are saying tariff money could even reach $500 billion a year if current trends continue. That is an unbelievable amount of money. And Senator Hawley, along with former President Trump, argue that Americans deserve to see some of it, not just Washington critics, of course, argue it's like giving people back money they already lost through higher prices. But for families struggling with rent, groceries, and bills, even a $600 check can be the difference between sinking and staying afloat. Now listen, I need you to stay with me until the very end of this video because in just a moment I'll explain exactly who could get these checks first if the bill passes, and this is the part most people don't know. Don't miss it. Remember how popular stimulus checks were during the pandemic? People loved direct payments. This rebate plan works differently. It's not meant to stimulate the economy during an emergency. It's more like a refund, tied to the money tariffs already collected. So the big question is, will this pass? Right now, it's 50-50. But history shows that direct payments are one of the most popular policies out there, which means both parties could eventually get on board, especially if they want to win voters before elections. And here's the key detail I promised you at the start. If this bill passes, the first payments could go out as soon as early 2026, right before tax season. That's right, you wouldn't be waiting years. The plan is structured so that once approved, checks could move fast since the money is already in government accounts from tariff revenue. So what do you think? Is this a fair plan that finally gives money back to working families? Or is it just recycling the cash we've already paid through higher prices? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'll keep you updated on exactly where this bill stands and whether those $600 to $2,400 rebate checks actually become a reality. Stay tuned, because this debate is just getting started, and the outcome could put real money in your pocket.